And good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, April 30th, 2026. Welcome to Before the Noise. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Thanks for being here. I see you there in the live chats. Listen, everybody wants a Jesus who shows up and fixes their problems, but I've discovered that very few people want a Jesus who disappears on them. We're going to talk about a disappearing Jesus today, the one that gets up and goes out into the wilderness in the dark place when you're like, wait a minute, I thought we were in the middle of doing miracles here, fixing lives. We love the miracles, don't we? We love the momentum. We love the crowds that come because of it, but we don't always understand the rhythm of Jesus behind his power. We're going to talk about that today. We're in Mark chapter 1. We're working our way through the book of Mark. We're going to get into a passage where Jesus is healing the sick. He's been casting out demons. And he goes viral. He becomes the most talked about name in the city. And you would think that'd be what he's after, right? Isn't that what most church pastors would be after? Suddenly the crowds are hearing about you and they're coming to the door. Nah, he slips away. Goes off into the dark. Why does he do that? We're going to talk about it. And I'll just give you a little hint. And that is what happens in private determines what can be sustained in public. Jesus is going to show us a pattern this morning. It's going to impact our lives if you'll hear it. And I believe if you miss it, when we miss it, and we all do, we spend our life chasing the moments instead of walking in the mission. And today we're going to take on the mission of what Jesus has called us to. I hope everybody's having a good morning. Mark chapter 1 is where we are. These are my devotional times. This is Before the Noise. My name is Chad Prather. You guys are just sitting in with me, and I'm thankful that you do. If you're watching on Facebook or X or you're watching on YouTube, we're in the live chat here on Rumble. Party Foul Steve is our hall monitor, and he's taking care of business if anybody gets out of line and looking out for us. So I'm glad you guys chose to join us this morning. Let's do this real quick. Let me tell you about my friends over at Birch Gold. You know how we keep the lights on around here. It's with friends like Birch Gold. Text Chad to 989898. If you've done it before, do it again. Let them send you that information kit on how to diversify your investment portfolio backed by physical precious metals, particularly gold. If you need a retirement plan, an IRA, backed by gold, they'll help you do it. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, and they are solid friends, good folks, tons of integrity, and they've got their finger on the pulse of what's happening with the global economy. And I love those guys. So do me a favor, text my name, CHAD. I spell it Chad, over to 989898. Let them send you that free information kit. And even if it's just part of your savings account, get it backed by gold. That's true diversity, okay? Text Chad to 989898. Does me a huge service in helping us here at Before the Noise. All right, Mark chapter 1. You guys ready to jump into this thing? Let me see some of those dancing bananas. How did the dancing Party Foul Steve take over the dancing banana first spot? It's because Steve likes to put the Party Foul Steves in there. It just makes Steve's day. I can see him in the studio. He just knows there's a little cartoon Steve out there dancing around in the Rumble chat. I love it. This is Thursday, so when we're done here, we'll roll right into the Chad Prather Show and talk about a few issues going on in our world in the headlines. But that's then, all right? How do I want to start this? Let me pray for us, okay? And then we'll jump into Mark chapter 1 and keep biting off some little chunks here. You guys ready to rock and roll? Let's do this. Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you for this day. As always, Lord, you made it on purpose. You woke us up to fulfill your promises. You put breath in our lungs and our nostrils. And Lord, we are such simple creatures. We're so predictable. We're so frail. And Father, I know that the people that can hear me right now, they long to have a relationship with an eternal, present, powerful God. And we do that through the person of Jesus Christ. And so, Jesus, we thank you for saving us. We thank you for setting us apart for your purposes. I pray for everybody in our community, Lord, in this Before the Noise community all across the nation. Lord, I pray for those that are sick. I pray for those that are infirm. I pray for those that have something that's going on in their body that's hindering them from work, or it's making them, there's a diagnosis there, or they're looking for a diagnosis. Lord, I pray that your kingdom would come and your will would be done in their physical bodies, even as it is in heaven. Lord, call everything into order so that it would work according to your purpose in creation and redemption. Father, I thank you that you still heal. I thank you that you still save. And I pray that, Father, I thank you that you still speak, and I pray that you speak to us today in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so there's this version of Jesus everybody loves. Not necessarily the real Jesus, but we love him. We love the Jesus that, or there's times when Jesus does things, we really love how he behaves. And we think Jesus is supposed to behave accordingly all the time. You know, the Jesus that kind of comes in the room and he touches what's broken and everything just changes and gets better. We're going to see here that sickness is going to leave, demons are going to flee, chaos is going to calm down, and people are going to come in, and people are going to gather. People always gather when the power of God shows up, because when the power shows up, attention is going to flow to it. But the same Jesus who draws the crowd and does all those powerful things also has this wild pattern. We've seen it before in other studies. He walks away. He walks away from it. We wouldn't do that, would we? And what we need to see is the same Jesus who heals disappears sometimes. He goes off into the dark place to be alone. We're going to look at this pattern. And the same Jesus that everybody is looking for and expecting to do something in our life, he refuses to stay sometimes where he's most wanted. And that messes with us, because if we're honest, most of us are addicted to the crowds and the excitement and the momentum and the validation and the want to feel needed. We want to be where the action is, right? We want to see God moving in our lives, in our homes, in our communities, in our churches, in our nation. But I contend that if we're not careful, we're going to build our entire lives around the moving and the shaking and the noise and the attention and the demand. And we're going to think that that's our purpose and that's our mission, and we're going to miss something powerful that Jesus wants to do in our life. Mark chapter 1, Jesus exposes a lie that we all believe. He's going to show us that power is not sustained by the hustle and the performance. It's going to be sustained by a certain type of withdrawing and finding the presence of the Father. See, we think that the ministry, the real ministry, I hope you're following me here. We think the real ministry is done in the presence of people. It's not. You say, but we're called to minister to people, right? Yeah, but that's not where the power is found. The power is found in the presence of the Heavenly Father. What we do in private sustains what we do in public. Now, we've talked about this many, many times in different ways from the Scripture. And Jesus shows us that our calling, and every one of you have a calling. Every one of you have a purpose for being here today. The breath in your lungs has a purpose today. God wants to fulfill something through you. And that calling on your life will always be threatened by things out there that are popular, things that are in demand, things that are vying for your attention. People, circumstances, situations, and they're not necessarily bad things, but your calling, your purpose today will be threatened by things that are popular. And just because something seems to be working and something that God seems to be doing in your life doesn't always mean that's the thing that you've got to be doing 24/7, 100% of the time. Because sometimes the loudest voices in our life aren't the ones we're supposed to be following all the time. I'm going to show you this today. And I think it's going to set some people free. And because as I was reading it, it truly gave me a new perspective. If anything, doing these studies in the morning with you guys, one of the things has set me free is I've let go of a lot of stuff, like the need to perform, the need to meet certain timelines, get certain things done because other people were demanding it. Like my day is filled with guys like I can pick on producer David. He doesn't mind. You know, he loves to get content out there, and David will shoot me emails. Hey, I need this from you. I need this from you. I need this from you. And sometimes I'm like, nah, I don't feel it. Just not feeling it. I'm not going to do it. And he's like, but we need to get this out. And I said, do we? I don't know that we do. I mean, like, people be okay without one more little voice on the internet today. Like, they don't always need to hear from me. And but that's his job, right? And he does a good job of it. But one of the things, I'm wanting to let go of certain things. This need to perform, this need to always do what others are demanding. And I want you to let that go too. Because there are people right now that are knocking at your door and texting you and emailing you and calling you, and they're demanding of you. And Jesus here in Mark chapter 1, we saw it yesterday, Jesus goes in the synagogue, and this powerful thing happens, and he steps out, and he goes over to this house. He's going to go over to Peter's house, and he's going to find a sick woman. He's going to heal her. Everybody's going to hear about it. And by nightfall, the entire city's stacked outside the door of this house. Sick people are there, desperate people, broken people. All of them are pressing in on the threshold of the house. And Jesus heals some of them. He delivers some of them. And you're going to see this. And then Jesus just, poof, he disappears. He's like, all right, that's enough. I'm gone. I mean, there's more people here to minister to, Jesus. What's the deal? He disappears. We're going to see that before the sun comes up in the morning, while it's still dark, Jesus slips away back out into the wilderness, the place where he was tempted, by the way. He goes back out into a desolate place to pray. Goes away from the audience, away from the platform, away from the crowd, just goes away to a place with him and the Father. And I'm going to show you how the disciples respond to that. I'm going to show you how Jesus responds to them. And it's a pretty powerful deal, because there's a rhythm of a life that when it's actually surrendered to God and God alone, your public life is going to change. How you deal with people is going to change. And you're going to learn that just because you can do something doesn't mean you have to do something. And you're going to see, you're going to understand, I hope that if we have ears to hear, because this is what I see, is if I build my identity on what people need from me, then I'm never going to have the strength and courage and ability to walk away when God calls me to walk away and be with him. Because the mission of God in your life is unpredictable. It's mysterious. And so I want us to be living a life, not reacting to the noise around us, the demands that are out there. And that's hard to pull away, especially in these days. But I want us to get so anchored in the purpose of God in our life that we become a powerhouse when we do walk into public. Now, that's only going to happen. That's only going to form in us when we spend time in the presence of God. And if we get that wrong, I don't care how big the crowd is at the door, you're going to miss your calling. Jesus is going to show us how to live like that. So we're in Mark chapter 1. You guys with me so far? Let me see those dancing bananas. Just trying to build this thing up here. It says, and immediately. What did we say the other day on Tuesday when we started this whole study in Mark? Mark loves the word immediately. Right now. Jesus is always moving immediately. There's a demand from the Father that Jesus doesn't hesitate to respond to. We sometimes hesitate. The Gospel of Mark keeps repeating the word immediately. And immediately Jesus left the synagogue and he entered the house of Simon, that's Peter, and his brother Andrew and James and John. Now Simon's mother-in-law lay ill with a fever, and immediately they told him about her. So Jesus doesn't just stay in the synagogue. We talked about that yesterday. Jesus doesn't camp out in the place where everybody expects religious activity and practice to happen. He moves out into the street. He transitions. He takes what just happened in the synagogue and he walks it into somebody's private home. Hey, can I just say on that, just a word of application from yesterday? Some of us have built an entire version of our faith in Christianity that only exists in the, quote, synagogue, only in the clean, controlled, and predictable environments. Jesus is not interested in being confined to your Sunday environment. He wants to walk into your house. So I love this. Jesus left the synagogue and he goes over to Simon's house. Verse 30 says that Simon's mother-in-law is lying sick with a fever, and immediately they tell him about her. There's that word again, immediately. They don't delay. They bring the need straight to Jesus. I love that, actually, because it shows you something about proximity to Christ. When Jesus is in your house, problems get exposed. You immediately bring your problems to Jesus. That's a pretty good pattern, isn't it? When he walks in the house, You know, he didn't walk in thinking about the sick mother-in-law, but they immediately brought their problems to Jesus. See, when Jesus is in the house, your problems get exposed. They don't hide them in the back room. You don't go like, you know how people, you know how you women are bad about this. You know, if you got a housekeeper or somebody that cleans your house, you clean up before the housekeeper. Like Jesus isn't expecting you to clean up your house. When Jesus walks in your house, bring all the cleaning to him and let him handle all that stuff, because he's far better at cleaning things up than you are. See, we want to look managed and respectable. No. It says immediately they told him. And it gets real personal here, verse 31. It says, and he came and took her by the hand and lifted her up, and the fever left her, and she began to serve them. Okay, let's sit here for a second. I love this verse. He took her by the hand. So Jesus, it wasn't a distant power. He took her by the hand. Jesus wasn't standing across the room shouting instructions. He moves over to her, takes her by the hand, he touches her, he lifts her. That word lift there is an interesting word in the Greek language. It means it's the same word as raise someone from the dead. When Jesus was raised from the dead, this is the same word. Jesus walks over, touches her. There's an intimate authority over what her problem is. He's a Savior who is not afraid of our weakness or our sickness or our mess. It says the fever leaves immediately, not gradually, not over time, instantly. Because watch this, when Jesus speaks and acts, things change immediately at the root. I love that phrase. He lifted her up, agero in the Greek. He didn't just help her stand up. Again, this is the word for resurrection, being raised from the dead, being awakened into a new life. Jesus doesn't just assist her, he walks into her home and raises her. See, that's the type of power Jesus wants to bring into your home today. Jesus doesn't want to just be in the Saturday synagogue or the Sunday church, you know, where he just was in the earlier verses yesterday. No, he wants to walk into your home and bring resurrection power. And the reason why that matters is how many of you want resurrection language in your living room? Like how many of you have some things that are dead or dying, some things that are feverish in your home? How many of you have some feverish situations in your home right now? It might be a physical sickness, I don't know. But you got some things that are, you know, the temperatures are running a little high. You might have some fevered relationships in your living room. You might have some fevered marriage situations. You might have some fevered things pressing in on you from the bill collectors and the debt collectors. The phone's ringing off the hook. You might have a really hot situation happening right now, and Jesus wants to come in and take that fever situation by the hand and intimately speak with authority into it and raise it up. Resurrection happening in your living room. Same power that's raising the dead is operating in a moment that looks small and ordinary. So what I want you to see here is when Jesus comes into your house, when Jesus takes you by the hand, regardless of what's going on in your life, and he speaks resurrection life into you, you aren't just getting slightly and gradually improved by Jesus. You're being raised into something new. You see this? So why are we still living like we're stuck in the old condition that he already lifted us out of? Some of us just want to lay on the cot and feel bad. Some of us just want to be like Peter's mother-in-law and just lay there and be like, well, I'm sick, you know. There's a spiritual sickness that's in me that's keeping me from doing what I need to be doing. I mean, she's the woman of the house, right? In the first century, Jesus and the guests come in the house. She should be up making food and serving and making sure everybody's taken care of. She can't do that. She can't do what she's called to do because there's a fever situation in her life. Jesus comes in and heals her, and sometimes she could have just laid back down and said, well, I'm going to need to rest for a little bit. And just put my feet up, I'm going to rest my eyes. And everybody said, well, you know, she has been sick. But that's not what happened here, is it? Look what it says in the latter part of verse 31. You guys see this? It says, he came, took her by the hand, lifted her up, resurrection power, and fever left her, and she began to what? Serve them. She didn't lay back down. She didn't say, "Oh, I've just had a fever for so long. I really need to take it slow because I don't want to have a relapse." See, we have a relapse mentality. And I know that because people live in perpetual victimhood. Jesus comes in, speaks to your fever situation, and heals it and gives you the remedy for it, gives you the cure for it, and lifts you up and says, "All right, now it's time for you to go back into your purpose." And we go, but you don't you don't know how hard it's been around here in the past. It's been tough for the last few days. You don't know how high my fever got. So we have this victim mentality. We love to relapse into our victimhood when Jesus is trying to heal us and set us free. And so now you got a bunch of people walking around, woe is me, navel gazing, dragging their face in the dirt because, well, you just don't know how bad my fever was. And everywhere you go, you won't tell people about that fever you had. And so whether you have the fever or not, you're still living like you do because you became a victim to the fever. Not Peter's mother-in-law says when he spoke resurrection power into her, lifted her up, she went back into her purpose. She began to serve them. Now, she was just sick. Now she's serving. Yeah, because when Jesus restores you, he restores you into purpose, not just into comfort. Jesus doesn't want to heal you and restore you just so you got a story to tell. Healing isn't the finish line. It's the starting point for you to go back into purpose. Some of you are wanting healing today. You're inviting Jesus into your home, into your life, because you got a situation that needs to be flipped upside down and fixed, or I should say flipped right side up, but you want your problems fixed. And you think that the end goal is getting your problems fixed. It's not. The healing is the starting point. We tend to say, well, God can fix me so I can just go back to living my life. Jesus says, I'm lifting you up with resurrection power and healing you so you can step into the life that I actually created you for. There's a role for you to play, and I'm going to heal you so you can go do it. Peter's mother-in-law doesn't need a recovery period. She doesn't need to cycle through a pile of antibiotics before she's ready to serve. No, she doesn't need to sit around and rediscover herself. She gets up and she starts serving. Why? Because she knows exactly what just happened to her. So let me say this. If our healing has not led to serving, all we experienced was relief. Jesus was after transformation back into purpose. You guys see that? Let me see a couple of dancing bananas if you see that. Maybe an amen or a thumbs up, anything. I don't know. Send me $1 million. Anything. I don't care. That'll heal me and I'll go back to serving. It's a joke. Maybe. Jesus is going to heal you to put you back into your purpose. And if you really want to press into this, because I do, and you don't really have a choice, so here we go. You got to ask your question, where is your house? Where is the place you're living where Jesus isn't just acknowledged, he's invited in? Peter and Andrew said, well, come back to our house. Come on in the house. Now, it's a mess. And mama's sick. She's back there. She's got the fever. But we still want to invite you in. I'm not going to clean the house for the housekeeper. We went to the synagogue and we saw these powerful things. But now let's leave the Saturday synagogue and now walk into our house. We're inviting him into our relationships, walking into our struggles, inviting him into our mess, our habits. And I would say, what are you trying to manage quietly in your house that you have not brought to him immediately? Because it says immediately they told him immediately about mama who's in the back room sick. Some of us, if you're honest, and I think you want to be, some of you are days, weeks, months, years, decades into carrying something that we've never actually handed over to Jesus. I had a fantastic dinner last night with a dear brother who 20 years ago, there were some things that happened situationally in ministry that caused a rift, caused a division, and there was a sweet, sweet time of repentance last night that happened over dinner. We wept together, embraced one another. It was just a powerful thing. There were some things that were there that I didn't even know existed. There were things that he wanted to talk to me about. And I see this and I go, this didn't have to take 20 years to fix. Like, how much ministry was missed? How many opportunities were missed because this was festering for 20 years? And some of us, all of us are the same way. We carry these things that really we should immediately bring to Jesus. And instead, we just carry them in the back room of our house, carrying them in the hidden parts of our life. I love that it says immediately they told Jesus about this mother-in-law. It's a fevered situation. And Jesus lifts her up. If Jesus has lifted you up, if Jesus has healed that situation, that fever situation in your life, in your home, in your house, why are we still sitting down and acting like we still have a fever? You say you've been changed, you've been saved, you've been transformed, you've been healed. You say you've been touched by God. You say that God has moved in your life, but there's no movement into service and no evidence of purpose and no shift in how you live. Then you might not have got the healing that you think you got. So don't say to the world, Jesus has touched my life, if there's no evidence based on ministry and service and immediately bringing all things to him. Because the real encounter with Jesus always leads to a real response. Now, I'm not talking about you earning a closer relationship with Jesus. I'm talking, again, about that alignment, that immediacy of when Jesus touches me, lifts me up, my life naturally begins to move in a different direction from what it was. I can't lay around on that cot and act like I'm sick anymore. So the question isn't, has God done anything in my life? He has. The better question is, what are you going to do after he does? Get up, step into your purpose. Don't go right back into living like you're stuck in the same fevered condition. Because in 3 verses, Jesus shows you exactly how he operates. He enters into your world. He enters into your house. He touches what's hurting and what's broken. He lifts you up with resurrection power, and he sets you back on your feet. She immediately begins to serve. He gives her purpose. So the invitation is pretty simple this morning. Let him into the house. Bring the problem to him immediately. And when he lifts you up, don't stay down. How's that? Don't stay down. I like that. He wants to use you guys. He wants to use me. And I'm so excited. I don't know. Today might be my last day. I can't know. God may give me 50 more years. I can't know. Can't worry about it. But I want to invite Jesus into my world right now. And I don't want to clean up my messes. I want to bring my messes to him immediately. And then I want him to heal those so he can launch me back into my purpose. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. Another T-shirt idea. What did I miss? You need to write it down. Party Foul Steve. I don't know what the T-shirt. Get into the chat. We love the T-shirt ideas. Go over to shopbeforethenoise.com. I was just thinking this morning, we need some more T-shirt ideas. Hey, speaking of all the good things going on in our world, the folks over at Rumble Wallet, go to wallet.rumble.com if you want to read up about this. They basically created another banking opportunity for you to put your money somewhere that you can't get canceled. YouTube canceled us. I was talking to Graham Allen the other day about his YouTube is finally starting to go. He's never in 10 years had any traction on YouTube. And I went for 4 years. I was going to tell you a funny story, but I'm not. I went for 4 years. I didn't add a new subscriber on YouTube for 4 years. Not one single new subscriber for 4 years. Why? Because I told you guys the truth about certain things that were going on in the world, and they censored me. Rumble doesn't do that. They don't do that with free speech. Guess what? The banks were shutting people down. Some people lost their banking ability because of their political beliefs or whatever. Rumble's changed the game for speech. They're changing it for banking. You can scan the QR code, put your money in there. Rumble can't even touch it. It's your money. You can put it there, and you can't be canceled. It's a great place to put it over there. It's backed by Bitcoin and Tether Gold, and you get it on the App Store. So go over there and check them out. Rumble Wallet. Whew, got to take a deep breath, folks. I'm fired up about Jesus setting us free. Let's go, let's go. All right, let's look at verse 32. That evening at sundown, there's always they brought to him all, there's always an all too. They brought him all that were, because Jesus has gone viral, man. He casts this demon out of this dude in the synagogue, and then he goes into the house of Peter. He heals his mother-in-law. And so they bring him all who were sick or oppressed by demons, and the whole city was gathered together at the door. The Greek word there is threshold. They were literally pressing in, like leaning in. Imagine your house and the whole city, the whole community is trying to get in your front door at the threshold. The whole city was gathered together at the door at the threshold, and he healed many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons, and he would not permit the demons to speak because they knew him. Now, the whole city's there. So this is not a quiet moment anymore. This is not a private healing in a private house. This is a line wrapped around the block. This is need stacked on top of need. This is desperation showing up in waves of people. Sick people, demonized people, broken people, they're all pressing in. Everybody wants to get healed. And it all lands in one place, the front door. All right, let's make this practical right up front. Your life has doors. Those doors are the places where pressure meets your privacy, where issues meet your identity, okay? That you all have a threshold out there and in here. And there's going to be things that press in on that door. So the question is not whether things will show up at your door. The question is who's standing inside that door with you, okay? Because again, your world, your house, your life, whatever you want to call it, that door, that access point into your life, that threshold becomes the pressure point. It's the threshold between where Jesus is in your life and where everybody else is wanting to get to him. Now, if you get healed by Jesus, if Jesus truly comes in your house and begins to move in power in your house, there are going to be people who press in. They want to find out what's going on in your house that's so different. What's going on in your life that's so different. Trust me when I tell you, everyone out there, a lot of people publicly on my platforms have pressed in wanting to know, Chad, what has happened with your life? What's the deal? I don't know that I've lost them, but there's a lot of people who don't really want to talk to me anymore, who have known me for a long time. They don't know how to deal with me because I've invited Jesus to the inside. And now those people don't know how to come to the threshold of my life. They don't know how to come. They don't know how to access me anymore. They're curious, but they don't know how to access me. So they're pressing in on the door. Life for all of us starts knocking. And sometimes life doesn't knock real politely either. It bangs on the door. And it does it all at once, too. I've discovered in life that problems tend to not take turns. They show up together. Like whether it's family issues, financial issues, mental issues, spiritual battles that are going on, sickness, and you feel like everything is standing at your door at the same time. Now watch what Jesus does. It says he healed many who were sick with various diseases, cast out demons, and he wouldn't allow the demons to speak because they knew him. So he healed some, and he cast out demons, but notice what it does not say. It does not say he healed all of them. Now that bothers people. See, you can't miss what the Scripture says, and you can't miss what the Scripture doesn't say sometimes. People get bothered because they have this image of what Jesus supposedly is to be, and they also have this image of the things that they say that we believe about Jesus. No, the Scripture says he didn't heal all of them. And the reason people get bothered by it is because people want a formula. People want a Jesus they can control. They want to believe that if Jesus is present, then every problem gets solved exactly how and when they want it. But Jesus is not performing for the crowd. Oh, the pressure is pushing on the threshold of the door, but he's not reacting to the pressure. Look at the pattern. Jesus is operating with identity. We talked about that yesterday. Identity, authority, and intention. He's meeting some real needs, but he doesn't surrender his mission to the demands of the moment. And then there's this detail here that kind of feels weird. It says he wouldn't let the demons speak because they knew him. Now that's weird, right? Like that's kind of like these demons are crying out. We saw yesterday, he's in the synagogue and this demon says, you are Jesus, the Christ of God. And he silences that demon. He says, you're the Holy One of God. Jesus rebuked him, said, be silent, be muzzled, shut up. So Jesus is telling the demons to be quiet, even though technically they're telling the truth. Why? Well, we talked about it yesterday, because truth out of the wrong mouth is still the wrong voice. You can take truth, speak it from the wrong heart, wrong motive, wrong mouth, and it gets twisted and distorted in the telling, even if it is in and of itself true. Jesus doesn't let darkness define his identity. Even if what they're saying sounds accurate. No matter what the demons are screaming, no matter what the darkness is yelling about, Jesus controls the narrative. No matter how much noise is there, Jesus controls. Jesus decides what gets revealed, when it gets revealed, how it gets revealed, and who gets to reveal it. Okay? That's so good. Listen, that's a word for somebody right there. Just because something is being said about you does not mean it deserves a microphone in your life. Jesus shut it down. Jesus shut that down. So there's voices at your door right now that are screaming for attention. And you know what? They might be telling the truth about you. You don't have to give credence to that. You don't have to respond to it. You could treat it like it's never happened. You can spiritually say, hey, be silent, be muzzled, shut up. What's knocking on your door? What's demanding your attention? What's screaming for your attention? What's trying to pull you into constant reaction mode right now? Because listen, if you're not careful, and we all do this, we're going to spend our entire life answering the door instead of living with direction. Party foul, Steve, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to find me something I can throw around here because I get so excited, and there's nothing here I can throw, and I don't want to throw my glasses. I get so excited, I just want to throw something across the room. If you're not careful with the noise that's in your life, and I know this because this is me. Remember, when I say you, I do mean me. When I get this excited, it's because God's talking to me. I don't know what he's saying to you. I hope he's saying something, but this is him talking to me. You will spend your entire life answering the door instead of living with direction. And the deeper thing about all of it is this. Am I coming to Jesus? Like, am I inviting Jesus into my house because of who he is? Or did I just invite Jesus in because of what he can fix? See, the crowd came for what could get fixed. Peter and Andrew and James and John, they invited him in the house because of who Jesus is. Jesus had already called them to follow him and become fishers of men. So there's this relationship, a discipleship relationship, which is a whole other thread of teaching. I would love to take you through the book of Mark and just show you how Jesus called the 12 that they might be with him. That's discipleship. They were with him, but the crowd pressing in on the threshold, they were there to get fixed. They were full of need. But not all of them were interested in surrendering and becoming disciples of Jesus. They wanted relief, not necessarily relationship. And we do the same thing, don't we? I want Jesus to handle my crisis, but I don't necessarily always want him to lead my life after the crisis is over. Well, you say, well, yes, I do. No, you don't, because I know that because we walk off and do the same stuff over again. Jesus fixes our stuff like notice the difference. He fixes the fever that's in Peter's mother-in-law. She gets up and begins to serve. There's no evidence of that in the crowds pressing at the door. He's healing those people, and they're going back out about their life. See, we do that all the time. And then you got these demons that are shouting out. Jesus says, y'all be quiet. And that's enough out of you. Because he knows there's voices that you can't allow to speak into your identity. They're saying this is who Jesus is. Jesus says, No, 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 no. We're not going to let that mouth speak. There's voices that you're allowing to speak into your identity. And some of those voices are voices of fear or past failure or shame or sin, other people's opinions. It could be the headlines, whatever it might be. Jesus says, I'm not even going to let the demons that I created these angels a long time ago. Before the rebellion, I created these. And he says, I'm not, they saw me in eternity. They saw me in glory. They saw me in heaven. They rebelled against my throne. I'm not letting those demons speak truth about me. And we're sitting here, man, we're letting the lies and the evil voices talk over us and speak identity into us every single day. If Jesus didn't do that, why are you doing it? You got to learn to shut some things down. Not everything, just because it's loud, not everything deserves your attention. Not everything deserves your agreement with it. Not everything deserves access into your heart and mind. So Jesus stands in the middle of these people with this overwhelming need. And guess what? Jesus himself, he's not overwhelmed. And the reason he's not overwhelmed is because he's operating with authority and identity and not anxiety. He's engaging without being controlled by the crowd. He's able to heal these people without losing any of himself in the ministry. See, that's something we got to learn to live with. I'm not going to avoid the crowd at the door, but I'm not going to let the crowd at the door define me. Does that make sense? Does anything I'm saying make sense? Let me blow up that chat. Let me see something. I hope I'm making some kind of sense. So you got the crowd knocking. You got the crowd knocking, and the problems don't come one at a time, man. And you're going, how do I escape all of this? No, that's not the right question. The question is, am I rooted deeply enough with Jesus in my house that I can face the crowds at the door, but it's not going to cost me who I am. I'm not going to lose my identity. Because today, I'm telling you, within the next few hours, you're going to have a knock on the door. And it might be the spiritual door. Shoot, it might be the physical door. I don't know. But there's going to be a knock on the door today, and it's going to be fear, and it's going to be shame, and it's going to be hurt, and it's going to be pain, it's going to be stress, anxiety, depression. I could list it. Diagnosis, it's going to be a letter in the mail. It could be anything. And listen, I want you to invite Jesus into the house, and do not let that define who you are. Because if you're not rooted in Jesus, if you're not rooted in that relationship, the crowd knocking on your door is going to shape you. Now, if you're rooted in him, I can stand in the middle of all of hell and chaos and craziness and everything else, and I can still move with an understanding and discernment knowing that I belong to him. Because I'm not letting the crazy outside my door define what's going on in my house. There's some strong application in that. I hope that's good. All right. Now, where are we to go from here? What do we got? A couple more minutes? Let's keep looking at the scripture. We're in Mark chapter 1, if you're just joining us. If you're still hanging around. I don't know why anybody would leave this. I mean, I'm giving you some life truth, man. I think I am. I don't know why anybody would leave and go listen to goofy old headlines, watch people act silly on the internet. It's so much better over here, right? I can sit here and yell at myself, and you guys can watch me do it. If you ever think I'm yelling at you, I'm not. I'm yelling at myself. I'm not even yelling. I don't know. Some people maybe hear it that way. Party Foul Steve, I can see you. Shake your head. Am I yelling? Am I yelling? Good. All right. Steve's used to my voice anyway. All right, look at verse 35. Where are we at? Verse 35. Arising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus departed. He departed and went out to a desolate place. That's the same wilderness, by the way, where we saw 2 days ago, where it says he went out and he was tested in the wilderness. He goes back out. He chooses to go back out in the wilderness. And there he prayed. All right. Might be the most important verse in the entire section. And we skip over it because we're like, yeah, Jesus went and prayed in the dark, desolate place. This is. You would think that after all those people were pressing in, the chaos knocking on your door, that Jesus would be like, hey guys, don't set the alarm. Let's sleep in. Like, let's don't go early. Like, checkout's not till 11. Maybe we get a late checkout. Let's just chill. Let's just rest up because we got a lot of stuff we're going to do. So let's sleep in. I mean, after everything, the crowds, the sick people, demons being cast out, demand, pressure, all the stuff. I mean, if anybody had an excuse to sleep in, it was Jesus. I mean, I earned a slow morning, right? But instead, it says, while the world was still dark, before the world woke up, before the demand started knocking at the door again, it says he got up and he left. He didn't take the boys with him. He left, goes into a desolate place. I love that word, desolate. We don't use the word desolate enough. He goes out there, just him and the Father. And can I just tell you, that is the difference between living reactive and living rooted. When things come into your life, how much time you've gone to the desolate place to spend time alone with the Father, it's going to determine how you react every time. Jesus doesn't wait for the sun to come up, doesn't wait for the day to hit him. He meets God before the day ever gets a chance to speak. We do the exact opposite, man. We wake up, we grab our phones, we check the messages, we scroll the headlines, we absorb. I get on the internet, see who's talking bad about me, who's complaining about something I posted, absorbing everybody else's opinions, reacting to emails. It's like, it's going to be one of those days. Oh, look, there's Chad again holding a binder he received from the White House. Whoopie-doo. My goodness. I mean, people, they're going to start knocking at the door. Something they can criticize you for. And then, about 10:30, 11 o'clock, maybe noon, you squeeze in a little quick prayer. And then you wonder why your life feels overwhelming. I mean, you're trying to fight these public battles, but you got a private emptiness. Jesus says that ain't the rhythm, man. He withdraws on purpose. And he went to a desolate place. Can I just tell you, the desolate place is not the convenient place. It's not the comfortable place. It's the desolate place. Intentional separation from everything. He removed himself from all the crazy, all the noise, all the people, all the expectation, all the demands, so he could anchor himself in the presence of the Father. That was his strategy. Prayer was not an afterthought. It was the source. So if Jesus, the Son of God, needed that, what makes you think you can live without it? What's the first part of your day actually look like, belong to? Now, so many of you, you're like, well, I'm spending it here with you, Chad. Thanks. I'm glad. That's actually not a bad idea. But when you first wake up, what's the first thing that gets your attention? Like, what shapes you the most? Can we make a conscious decision to let God get our attention first? Because I don't want to step into my day drained. I want to go into it filled up. Hey, do you have a dedicated desolate place? I've never thought about that until just now. Do you have a dedicated desolate place? Probably not going to be the place you want to post on Instagram, right? But the place you can be alone with God. You don't have to perform. Nobody's going to hear you. You don't have to impress. I think that if we don't have a place like that, we need to get a place like that. Because if we don't have a place like that, we're going to start trying to build our identity in the public spaces, and eventually that crushes us over time. I don't mind telling you. He wouldn't mind me telling you. But I was talking to Graham the other day, Allen. Graham said, man, I'm tired. And I said, I can relate to you, buddy. I said, and you've done a lot of things. You should be tired. And I said, but I want you to withdraw. I want you to find a place. And he came up with a couple of things because Graham's a hardworking guy. He's always going. He's a hustling guy. And I said, Graham, I want you to get some rest. So I'm praying for Graham. I want you to pray for Graham as well. Graham is a passionate brother. And I told him, I said, I want you to get some rest. And sometimes it's hard to withdraw. And he assured me that he would. I'm going to try to hold him accountable to that. Because he's got a lot of responsibilities. We all do. Sometimes it's hard to go to the desolate place. And I said, man, you're carrying a heavy, heavy burden right now. And I want to remind all of us, you know, and I say that about Graham. I use his name because I want you to pray for Graham. Graham's carrying a lot that he can't necessarily let go of right now. And it's a lot. I want you to pray for him. And don't be a gossip and run over there and be like, well, Chad's talking about you. No, he wouldn't mind me telling you this. Not at all. He wants your prayers, covets your prayers. I do too, by the way. But the pattern of Jesus here is for all of us, not just me, not Graham, not name your person or whatever, but for you. Again, we're not going to find our identity in the crowd. We settle that in the quiet place. And the part that a lot of people miss is the part is that time in prayer is going to prepare you for the decision you're going to make next. This is what happens to Jesus. See, Jesus didn't make strategic decisions while everybody was banging on the front door. He decided his next decisions in the presence of the Father. Now look at what it says. Watch this. You'll see it played out here. Verse 36, and Simon and those who were with him searched for him, and they found him and said to him, everyone's looking for you. Don't you want to smack Peter right there? Don't you want to just smack him and be like, dude, shut up and go back to the house? I mean, they're turning over every rock looking for Jesus. And he shows up and they're like, hey, everybody's looking for you. They're trying to pull him back into the place of pressure, in the place of publicity. Why? Because Jesus doesn't respond to that. Because he's already been in the presence of the Father. See, we're trying to figure out our life in the middle of the noise. We need to settle that in the quiet place. We're asking for God to give us direction in the middle of trying to react to everything else. You got to let him set the direction for your life, identity, and authority before anything else gets a say in your life. If you skip that step, nothing else in your life is going to hold. You can have all the moments of impact you want. You can have seasons of success, but you will not be able to sustain that. Jesus had power in public because he had surrender in private. Period. End of story. The reason he can handle the crowds is because he'd already been alone with the Father. He listens in quiet, therefore he can speak publicly. The most spiritual thing you can do for your life right now is not add more activity. And maybe you need to get up a little earlier. Step away from some things. Find a desolate place. Go sit in a truck. I do that. People look at me like I'm crazy, just sitting there talking to myself. No, I'm talking to the Father. I'll sit there in the parking lot sometimes and just pray. And people walking by, and can we learn how to be with God before we try to do anything for God? If you'll get that right, I promise you, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I promise you, things are going to start to fall in place in your life. There's certain things, if you just do them, it works. I promise you, it'll fall in place. And if you get this wrong, I don't care how many people are knocking at your door. You can pour your life out trying to fix those people at the door. You're going to be empty on the inside. You're pouring from a cup that is dry. Now, everything's going to come to a head here, and I'm going to hush, and we're going to roll into the Chad Prather show in a minute. Peter says everybody's looking for you. Look at what Jesus says. Verse 38. Jesus said to them, let us go on to the next towns, that I may preach there also, for that's why I came out. He didn't go back to the crowds. And it says he went throughout Galilee, preaching in their synagogues and casting out demons. You know, the disciples are basically saying, Jesus, what are you doing out here in the wilderness? I mean, you're blowing up right now. Like, you're going viral. This is crazy. You're hot, man. You're trending. Whole city's looking for you. There's momentum behind you, Jesus. There's demand. Why, there's opportunity. Don't walk away from this. They're saying, hey, man, they're making hashtags and emojis out of you, dude. I mean, you're a GIF. Don't walk out of this algorithm. You're hot right now. Jesus answers in a way. Somebody said to me, or someone said to me the other day that the CEO of a certain news network out there said, "Is Chad even relevant anymore?" I've laughed about that for 3 days now. Said, since he left the network, is he still relevant? And I was like, depends on whose standards you want me to be relevant by. I don't need to be relevant by the world's standards. I love this. They're like, oh, really? Chad walked away and set up a little studio in a corner of a room in a little cabin in the woods. I mean, what's Chad even doing these days? You weren't concerned when I was a part of what you were doing. Don't be concerned about me now. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to be bargained with and demanded with by the algorithm. I'll be as relevant as Jesus wants me to be. How about that? And I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to get right with the Father. I'm going to be relevant in the throne room of heaven. I'm going to be relevant with the Spirit's operating in my life to the degree that I invite him in and let him work. I'm going to be relevant in the ears of God, of my Father. And then I'm going to let him send me where he wants to send me. They're saying, Jesus, you got a crowd back here. Come be relevant. And Jesus said, no, let's go somewhere else. They're going, let's capitalize on this. And Jesus, let's build, we got a platform we can build here. Let's stay where it's working, Jesus. Jesus says, no, let's go somewhere else. Why? So I can preach there also. He says, that's why I came. That's it. That's the anchor. That's the mission. Jesus wasn't led by the opportunity. He was led by the purpose. Those aren't always the same thing. Opportunity will scream at you, knock at your door. It'll feel like it's urgent. It'll look important. And it's always going to be backed by people saying, hey, Jesus, where you been? Everybody's over here. Well, you need to do this right now. But see, purpose is quiet. Purpose is settled. Purpose is an anchor point. It doesn't panic when the crowd starts coming in. Jesus spent an entire night healing people, casting out demons, meeting their needs, and then he walks away into a desolate place. And he says, you know what? There's still needs back there. We're going to go somewhere else. Now, that feels wrong to us because we think if there's need, you should stick around. I mean, aren't I obligated to minister to these people? I mean, if people are wanting us, demanding us, then I should respond, right? If something's working, I should keep doing it. Jesus says, I'm not controlled by their demand. He's not ignoring people. He's obeying the Father. And the key to all of that is he knows it because of what we just saw in verse 35. He already spent time in the desolate place in prayer. The decision was already made in the quiet place. It wasn't made in the middle of the noise. So when the noise shows up, it doesn't move him. It doesn't motivate him. Now, where is your everyone is looking for you moment? Where's that right now for you? Where are the voices, the expectations, the opportunities, the demands that are pulling on you saying, stay here, do this, do more of this, don't leave this? Where's that happening in your life? The thing that as soon as you get off here, I got to log off and I got to go deal with this. I got to go deal with it. Where has God already told you to move on from that, but you're still staying because it feels good to be needed in that spot? You realize that being needed can become an addiction. Like I know people that have had a lot of kids because they need to be needed. They just kept on having babies because apparently they just like having sore boobs or something. I don't know. But they just need to be needed. Being needed becomes an addiction. You feel important. You feel validated. You feel like you matter. And then without realizing it, you stop asking ever, hey, what's God calling me to do? What's the Father want me to do? You start responding, with what do people want me to do? What do people want from me? That's a dangerous, dangerous place to be. That's a shift you don't want in your life. Because if people can define your direction, they will also control your life. Jesus breaks that cycle. Jesus says, we're not going back to that. We're going to the next town. And the reason is because his mission was bigger than that one moment, that one crowd, that one location. Jesus came to preach the kingdom of God. And the miracles, they mattered. They were life-changing. They supported the message. But those miracles weren't the mission. The miracles weren't the mission. And see, that matters for you and me because because we don't define our mission clearly. And if we don't, we're going to get lost in some good things that are not our things. That's God's business. You'll spend your life busy, but not effective. You'll spend your life active, but not aligned with his purposes. You'll spend your life needed by people, but not obedient to the Father. So, are we making decisions based on what's loud knocking on our door? Or are we making decisions on what the Father wants for our life, what's right? Are we staying in places because God told us to, or because it's comfortable and we're needed and it's affirming and it's powerful and we feel validated? Do you even know your why? Or are we just reacting to the next person that knocks on the door, whatever shows up next? See, Jesus knew exactly why these people came. They came to get fixed, not to follow. They didn't come to follow him. They came to just get fixed by him. They came to get their bobo patted, right? There's some wisdom in knowing when to stay and knowing when to leave. That's maturity, okay? There's a lot of freedom in that. And he went throughout all Galilee, verse 39, preaching in their synagogues and casting out demons. Kept on moving, kept on preaching, kept on demonstrating authority. Because you know what? There's demons in the next town too. There's sick people over there too. He did it on mission, though. He did it on demand. That was his method. So you can't say yes to everything and still fulfill what God's actually called you to do. Can I say that again? You cannot say yes to everything that's knocking on your door and fulfill what God's actually called you to do. At some point, you got to walk away from something that looks good, feels right, and is even helping people because it's not where God is sending you next. Takes some courage to do that, doesn't it? But that's the pattern of Jesus. Some good things in your life you need to let go of because you've been white-knuckling it, trying to fix it. But when you get rooted in the presence of God, before that noise ever starts knocking, before the noise ever starts talking, you're going to have an identity and an authority that other people don't have. Are you building a life around what people want for you or around what God has called you to do? And look, those two paths, they'll overlap every now and then. Sometimes they overlap for a moment, but eventually they're going to lead you in completely different directions. You see that? Okay. I feel the need to say that to you again. Are you building a life around what people want from you or around what God has called you to do? You guys good? Let me update the chat. Make sure you guys are still alive in there. I could keep going on this. There's so much. We're still in Mark chapter 1. We're still in Mark chapter 1. I love this book so much, man. I love the scripture, dude. I love just breaking into it. Goodness gracious. I'm so full right now, man. I just am. Father, thank you for the truth of your word. Thank you for speaking to me this morning. Lord, I pray that you will help me to just take the things that just came out of my mouth, Lord, and apply them to my life. Thank you for speaking to me in these verses, in this real interaction between Jesus and these people. Lord, I want to be anchored in you. I want to be rooted in you. I want to live from a place where my identity is not built by the applause of people, not shaken by the pressure of this world. Lord, I want to reset the rhythm of my life. I want to let Jesus into my house, not just the highlight reels of my life, but I want him to come in and take what's broken by the hand and immediately raise it up so that it can be used for the purpose of service. And I want to withdraw into that quiet, desolate place away from the noise. And find purpose again. Find authority, find identity. Get out. I don't want to be trapped in the expectations of others. Lord, you've invited us into a different way of life, a life with power that's rooted in your presence. Oh, Lord, lead us today. Because there's a lot of things knocking at our door. There's a lot of things banging at the threshold. I can't handle the stuff knocking on my door without you. I need to go into that desolate place with you. I want to follow you. into the life that you're calling me to live. Lord Jesus, I pray that everyone within the sound of my voice right now, whether they're watching, listening, whatever, they'll find that place where peace is, where life starts to make sense because we've found our identity, found our purpose, found our place, found our authority in the desolate place in the time spent in prayer with the Father. And we thank you that you're available to us. We thank you for that. Find your desolate place. Ooh, that's my assignment for today. Oh, my goodness. We're going to roll over into the Chad Prather Show here in a minute. We'll do the quick break, and then we'll do the countdown, all the stuff. You guys aren't strangers here. You know what's up. Some of you might want to go watch somebody else talk about something for a little while, and that's your choice. Let me see some of those dancing bananas. Go ahead, rebel. Go ahead. Do it. Rebel. Go watch somebody else. I don't care. Go get some hats, man. Jesus lives. Where's it at? Boom. Jesus lives. Y'all need Jesus. We got all kind of Before the Noise gear over at shopbeforethenoise.com. You can go over there and grab some stuff, man. We got the books. You can get the Born for Meaning book. I can't get these hats to fold back up. My arm still hurts. God's still healing me there. That little injury, I've got my sleeve on there because it looks really, really gross. You know, they say scars are sexy or whatever. This one is not. It's not. So it looks like I've got shot. Yeah, anyway. So let's take a break and we'll roll over into the Chad Prather Show. But I would be remiss if I didn't remind you of something I try to encourage you with every single day when I say thank you for spending these few sacred minutes with me today before the noise. My prayer is that you walk into whatever comes next, not empty but filled, not rushed but rooted, not reactive but renewed. Well, that makes sense in light of what we talked about today, doesn't it? Take a deep breath. God's already ahead of you. If you can't stick around, I'll see you tomorrow morning, same place, same peace before the noise. I love y'all. God bless, and we'll roll into the Chad Prather Show. See you shortly. Russia. That's what it's all about. That's all we heard forever, right? Just Russia. Russiagate. You remember that? I mean, who can forget it, right? We're going to get into some of those things today because James Comey turned himself in. Apparently some things are happening with the Department of Justice. Kind of interesting now that Pam Bondi's out of the way, that with this interim DOJ director seems to be pretty dadgum good. I think we might need to keep him around for a little while. I like him a lot. Russiagate. You know, the Mueller investigation, all of these things, it's funny if you stick around long enough, these things come to light. You do enough digging and you discover that the so-called conspiracy theorists, we're right. We were right all along. All the stuff that we got, banned for and censored for talking about, we were right. And, the Russiagate thing, it didn't miss the mark. It accomplished exactly what they wanted it to accomplish, right? I mean, it was the biggest political fairy tale, one of the biggest political fairy tales that was ever sold to the American people. And people bought it hook, line, and sinker. They still believe in it. They're still saying that Trump is a Russian asset. The Russia collusion hoax. And you know what? They don't come back in and say, we got it wrong or we misunderstood. No, they did it on purpose. A full-blown, multi-year-long narrative built on smoke and mirrors, bought and paid for, and a whole lot of people hoping you'd never bother to look behind the curtain. Well, we did. We kept pulling on the curtain, didn't we? They said the walls are closing in. What was it that Adam Schiff said? That he had undeniable evidence that Donald Trump had colluded with Russia in winning the presidency in that election in 2016. Every night, the breaking news cycle was, this is it. The Rachel Maddows are bark, 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 bark. The evidence is coming. The hammer's about to drop. For years, we sat there listening to talking heads tell us like it's the season finale of a reality show, waiting for this big reveal. Let's see the smoking gun. And what do we get after all the drama? You got a Mueller report that dropped like a dud. There was no grand conspiracy. There was no secret back channel puppet strings. There was no cinematic ending. It was just a whole lot of, we couldn't establish that. You couldn't establish it. You mean after years of headlines and leaks and destroyed lives and anonymous sources and breathless panel discussions and everybody knowing everything that they had that was about to be revealed and social media hysteria and families at each other's throats, the big conclusion was basically, we got nothing. And the part that makes our blood boil, or if it doesn't, then you've forgotten, and it should make your blood boil, is it wasn't that it was just wrong. They did it on purpose so they could do this to the country. They poisoned trust. You had half the nation convinced the other half had elected a foreign asset. Can you think for a second with me just about how insane that is? Not we disagreed on policy or, you think we made a bad choice in who we elected president. No. They went straight to you're basically working with the enemy. You're a Russian asset. Psychological and political warfare. Families are broken up. Friendships get wrecked. On social media, every day, people are at each other's throats. Americans looking at each other, not like neighbors, but like threats to each other. Getting accused of taking Russia money. And it just like now's the narrative, you're taking Israel money. It's like all these people with like the Grand Wizard of Oz is back there pulling all the, playing all the instruments at once. And every bit of it fueled by a stupid narrative that keeps getting extended and revised and recycled. And, we thought that, now we know. Every time it falls apart. And you had people in positions of power, the upper echelons of our government, who knew the evidence was fabricated, thin at best, but fabricated. And they pushed it anyway. Why? Well, it was useful. It was a weapon. Keep the outrage machine running, and the outrage is profitable for them. They can raise money on that. Media ratings went up. Political careers stayed alive. You got these dinosaurs in Washington, D.C. Something had to they're 900 years old. Something had to make them relevant. Social media literally became something different completely. It lit itself on fire. We used to take pictures of ourselves and post selfies and the pictures of our food we were about to eat. Not anymore. Not anymore. Now we're all political science majors. Then we became virologists and microbiologists, and now we're experts on foreign policy. We know everything about Gaza and Israel and Iran, and oh my gosh. And again, my social media, My oldpoliticalcowboy.com page went from 750,000 unique website visitors a day to 3,500, January 27th, 2017. Why? Because we got censored. We got censored. We got censored. Based on what? Russian collusion. If Russia could influence social media to the point to get Donald Trump elected, then everybody that voted for him must be colluding with Russia too. We were guilty by association. And everything we tried to say got buried under a mountain of what ifs and sources say. It does tick me off to think about it. And you fast forward to when the story collapsed and the narrative goes away, and suddenly we're just supposed to bury it under the rug of, well, hey, these things are complicated. Complicated? No, what's complicated is rebuilding trust after you've spent years telling millions of people that their country was hijacked from the inside and influences from Russia of all people. And then you're going to say, well, yeah, we know that didn't really happen. And the thing that really pisses me off is not enough people are going to jail over it. Why? I mean, we're living in a world where you can't just hit rewind on that kind of damage. You trained people to believe the worst about each other and normalize the idea that our elections are completely illegitimate. And if you don't like the outcome, well, then we got an election integrity problem. And we do have those problems. But we turn suspicion and hate and outrage into a national pastime. Well, here we are living in the fallout. Nobody trusts any institutions. Nobody trusts the media. Nobody trusts the other side. And why should they? When the people who were supposed to tell you the truth were busy scripting political theater instead of telling you the truth. See, when you weaponize lies for power, you don't just win a news cycle, you break the foundation of the country you claim to care about. Russiagate didn't miss the mark on that, did it? Move the target, lit the range on fire, and blame the smoke on everybody else. And you're at fault, dadgummit. It's your fault. Russia. Where am I right now? All right, let's, who we got, Dave? We got Patriot Mobile. Is that what we got today? Patriot Mobile. I was just with those guys at the end. Oh, who we got? Okay, that's not what's in the Telegram deal. Let's see. I've got Rumble Wallet or Birch Gold, because the notes say Birch Gold. I'm having a conversation. All right, let's go to Birch Gold. We tell you, hey, Rumble Wallet too. Do all of them. They all keep the lights on around here. Text Chad to 989898 and let A+ rated Better Business Bureau ranked Birch Gold Group send you that free no obligation information kit, and they will. They're not going to pressure you. They're good folks, man. Good guys over there. Got their finger on the pulse of the global economy, and they know that you need to diversify your investments, your portfolio backed by precious metals. Physical gold, man. That's the spot to be. All you got to do to help me tremendously today is text CHAD, Chad, to 989898. Let them send you that information kit and take care of business. And it ain't going to come from Russia either. Oh, boy, howdy. Cowboy says you haven't said anything about First Cup in a while, by the way. Thanks, Cowboy. You're right. I haven't said anything about First Cup in a while, by the way. Drink First Cup. Go to firstcup.com. All right, let's bring him on. Party Foul Steve. What's up, buddy? Where you at?
Let me get some volume on first. Unmute myself.
Unmute thyself.
I'm back out here on the left coast.
Yeah.
Out here for a couple of weeks. But you said something. You just said something about the. And I got to thinking about the Russiagate and stuff. You think about it, and for people our age, that is one of the most believable things that they could do. You think about it. We grew up in a time where it was Russia. They were the big bad enemy. So, okay, let's come up with a scenario that's believable. So they came up with a good one that would be at least enough believable to get started.
Well, why not? I mean, when you've got a guy like Trump, I mean, you would think that Trump's a billionaire and therefore he probably has a relationship with oligarchs. And, Trump's a global identity. He's a global celebrity. He's a global, commodity. And so why not? It would make sense that he's in bed with all of these other oligarchs like Vladimir Putin or whatever, right?
If I was a billionaire, I probably would be too.
Well, it's
They, you
crazy.
know,
If you go to Mar-a-Lago or if you go to West Palm Beach and then you go over to Breakers, which is the club across the resort club, whatever you want to call it, the private club across the way there from Mar-a-Lago. You go in the lounge there at Breakers. It's nothing but Russians in there sometimes, man.
yeah.
And
No,
if you go to Washington D.C., I mean the old Russia House, which is closed down, you used to get some good vodka and caviar in there. The awning out there was red with white letters that really looked like a MAGA hat on there. So, I see all these kind of connections that were kind of funny, and I was like, yeah, maybe it was Russia. But
that's exactly what I was going to say. DC has those places that,
Yeah.
it's,
Well, and then again, everybody's mad because, well, Donald Trump, he's friends with Putin or what. You can't be friends with Putin. I mean, again, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Everything about life you really did learn from the Godfather, right? So,
yeah, it's he might be. I don't like him being any. He uses the term friend very loosely, and we kind of do that too. Oh, my buddy. They're really not your buddy. I
yeah.
don't have my friend group is like really small. I might say, "Oh, my friend so and so," or "my buddy so and so," but I know, like when I'm talking to you, you know that what I mean when I say my buddy.
Well, you can no matter what you say. I mean, again, and I hate saying "and again" because there's so many these examples. Here's a good one. Yesterday, Erica Kirk comes out and makes this statement basically saying that, I'm sick and tired of all this stuff. And everybody came down on her for wearing what she was wearing. She's wearing a black hat. She's wearing like a black hoodie type quarter zip thing. They get mad at her if she's wearing leather pants, if she's wearing white. They get mad if she's wearing sequins. They get mad it's like you can't win. So my point in that is people are always going to try to hang you based on what comes out of your mouth or what you say. And it's stupid.
But I think Trump knows that Putin's a usable tool, so he's got to.
I would rather him be my friend than my enemy. I mean,
Yeah.
I would rather have an open line of communication. I mean, you saw what he did with Joe Biden. I mean, he marched right into Ukraine and decided that he was going to do what he's going to do. And we're in a situation right now. Putin will not move with Trump in office. He just won't. Who's got a motorcycle in the background? Is that your?
I've got
you?
I-5. I got I-5 right over my right shoulder.
I'll make sure I'm hearing in these headphones. I ordered a new earpiece, by the way, so
They
I
go
can get
about.
rid of these.
Oh, good deal. Yeah, they go about 300 miles an hour on this I-5.
Well,
through
hell
here.
ain't half full, man. Speaking of Trump, I mean, he's just out doing president stuff. He brought the Artemis astronauts to the Oval Office. So there they are doing that. So, every time you even mention that, you got all the rereads are going to pop up and got to give their opinion on whether or not people went to space.
Where's Katy Perry?
I mean, where's Gayle King on that picture? I mean, anybody can do it, right? Play this clip. Is this a clip we need to play?
We have some people that have captivated the attention of the whole world, not just our country, the whole world, and they're very brave, and there was a lot of rocket under them. I never saw anything like that. We were talking about it. It's I don't know how they do it. I wouldn't want to do it, but it takes people like this to make our country great. And again, I've never seen anything. Everybody I knew, they wanted to see the launch, and they especially wanted to see a successful landing. And Jared, I want to congratulate you, what you've done at NASA. I made a great choice.
All right. I was more interested in the clip where he talked about that guy's ears. Did you see that one?
No, I haven't seen that one, but I think it's good. I like bringing the astronauts there because that's something to look up to for kids, science and astronauts. That's kind of go to space, explore. But it's like we throw somebody up in space like every week now.
But do we, Steve? But
yeah, we do. We don't see
Israel
it. It's not on TV. They don't make it a big deal, but this is a big deal because it's NASA.
Yeah. City of Westminster, California. You can go out there and see this, Steve, while you're there on the left coast. You can go out there and see Charlie Kirk Way. They put up the signs in honor of Charlie. We'll see how long that sticks around.
I knew the real deal. I don't need to go see a sign.
Well, these signs are going up. They're doing it in California, doing it in Florida. I like it.
I like it too. It's
So
I'm not.
I dig
Are
it.
they? Who are they replacing though? Are they taking down Martin Luther King signs?
They are
and putting
definitely not doing Martin Luther King.
Okay, I was just like making sure they're not taking down that. Somebody. They have to take down something to put it up.
Well, you know where they're not doing it is Arizona, where Charlie actually lived and worked and built an organization. So, yeah, I'm glad to see it in California. Charlemagne thought God. He just justified the assassination attempt on Trump. Play the clip.
The Trump administration has caused so much pain to people's everyday lives that some folks are fed up and willing to risk it all. Simple as that. Yeah. And if you're going to talk about anybody toning down violent political rhetoric, start with the president, Donald J. Trump.
Some folks are nut jobs. That's it. It's the nut jobs to do. You talking about Trump to simmer things down? No, it's not going to simmer down or settle out because they are attacking him.
Not when whack jobs like Charlemagne are going to go out there and keep that kind of crap going on. And who was it? Jasmine Crockett, who said, you can't show me one place where anyone has called for violence against conservatives or violence against the president. Are you an idiot?
Literally.
Like what planet are you on? Like you're so far out of the realm of reality, they can't even forward your mail anymore, girl. Like these people are idiots.
And they not realize it's all over every network, years and years of them talking the crap.
Well, and even now, I mean, you take Hans Pike, whatever the Hassan Piker, whatever his name is, who's wanting blood in the streets. Yeah. And I mean, look at this, Savannah Hernandez, our good friend Savannah Hernandez. I mean, I texted her the day this happened. Whenever the family was pushing her around, so they've decided to come out with some indictments on these folks. I mean, this idiot. This guy was like, he was wanting to make himself the victim, this Trushko or whatever the guy's name was. Go ahead and play the clip a little bit. So they went over there and told the daughter to blow that whistle in her face. And then this guy, scroll on over where this guy shoves her, or Trushko or whatever. And Savannah, if you've ever been around her, she's a tiny little girl. She's a tiny little thing. And this guy just comes up and shoves her down. And I'm glad this is happening. More of this needs to happen. Otrushko. Sounds like a Russian to me.
It's wait, where's all this violence coming from?
Always the left.
I don't see any I don't see any violence. I don't see the Klan out in the street doing violence. I don't see the.
Well, the Klan's left too.
Oh,
the Klan's Democrats too. I mean, they've always been Democrats. They just got funded by the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center. So, anyway, so again, I mean, this guy, he went online with his family, and he was saying that he's the victim now. He's going to have to leave the country because everything's been destroyed. You know what that guy did for a living? He raised geckos. Geckos. Yeah, the little lizards, the tails fall off.
All you got to do is move to Florida, and they're everywhere. You don't even have to raise them. They're on the side of your house.
But, apparently that's an industry of raising geckos. It's like, Dumb and Dumber, where they want to open a worm farm. And they're like, we need to send these people a message. They got worms in their living room. I don't think they're going to get that message. These people are weird. So, anyway. All right. Good Lord, man. I hope they throw the absolute book at them. I mean, put them under the jail. Keep your hands off of people. Have you seen the clip of Nick Fuentes shoving the woman that's at his front door? Yeah, we'll get over to that here in a little while. That's a pretty good clip right there. And I think Nick is trash, but I totally support him in doing this, and we'll show you in a little while. All right, let me tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. I was just with them at the NRA convention. They're good folks, man. America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you sit down to pay your wireless bill, let me ask you a question. When you sit down to write that check out or you pay online or whatever you do you ever think about where your money's going? Because if you're doing it to the big three out there, the big cell phone carriers, portion of your bills going to these crazy progressive leftist causes. I'm talking about the causes that are targeting you and your family and your rights and your constitutional beliefs as well as your faith. You're literally funding the enemy when you pay that bill. There's no reason not to be with Patriot Mobile. What happened to our lower third there? PatriotMobile.com/Chad. And they have got 100% U.S.-based customer service team. Call them on the phone, 972-PATRIOT. You'll understand them when they answer the phone because they speak English. And if you use promo code Chad, they'll give you some free activation over there. They'll negotiate all kind of things with you, man. Get your cell service moved over. If you need a new phone, need a new package, whatever, they got a budget that'll fit. Go to patriotmobile.com/Chad, and they give you all kind of free stuff if you're a first responder or military member or a veteran, whatever. Check with them. But quit paying for these folks that you're funding people that hate your guts. Stop it. All right, SCOTUS, Supreme Court has struck down race-based redistricting. Steve, I know you got your finger on the pulse of that, right?
Oh, yeah. Keeping track of all of it.
I know you are. So that's Louisiana. That is not, a lot of people think that that's across the country. No, that's just Louisiana. So, again, you have these gerrymandered districts that have been built based on race, and that's where the voting is going. The entire country needs to be redistricted. And it's happening a lot in the South. But a lot of people are saying this is bad for Republicans. This is not bad for Republicans, man. They're saying, well, what we're doing is we're opening up the door for them to be able to pack the courts in 2028 or 2029. All right, fine. If that's the deal, if you guys want the courts packed, then let's pack it right now. If you want the Supreme Court packed, let's just pack it right now while Trump's in office. How about that?
What's the fairest way to do these districts?
Well, based on where people live, and based on where they actually are. You don't just draw. I mean, like if you look at certain districts, like Steve Toth just won in what I call a gerrymandered district where Dan Crenshaw has been the congressman. People don't like Dan Crenshaw. They don't like Dan Crenshaw.
Is that the one where they drew the line around the woodlands?
All the way around.
Yeah.
They drew the district. It looks like a sickle. It looks like a backwards C. I mean, the whole thing is districting around because they knew,
they cut out certain neighborhoods and stuff like that because they don't want.
So what this was is they were doing, all of this was race based, and Supreme Court said no, you can't do that. So that's Louisiana. So
why not, instead of doing a format like that, why don't they do like a grid format? The whole
because that's not because people don't necessarily live there. In those grids, you gotta put your districts based on where people live, but you can't do it based on the color of their skin. Like that's not a criteria. So anyway, that's good. That's a good thing. I believe it's a good thing. There's people barking about it and debating about it and all that stuff. And we got a mess with this districting stuff. I mean, Jasmine Crockett, because of the redistricting in Dallas, she lost because, again, they had that gerrymandered district was a mess. And the Democrats have done this from age old, and now they don't like the fact that we're beating them at their own game, basically.
So we're taking power away from certain areas? I mean...
No, you're making it more fair. Okay. You're making it based on where people live. And it's not a criteria based on the color of their skin. So I can create a district based on where the population is.
Yeah, but
and not based on these little criteria like,
But if you're drawing a district, and I'm just going to use the Woodlands as an example because we both know that we're doing this district, and we're like, we get down here.
Where's the Woodlands? You got a global.
Oh yeah, this is North Houston, Texas.
Texas.
This is a uppity, eco bubble, I guess. What have you? Is that the way you say it, Chad?
There's a lot of money in the Woodlands.
So, but let's say you're drawing this line. I would say like, okay, let's cut out this trailer park. Let's leave them out of our district as they're drawing this. Not that there's any trailer parks in the Woodlands, but there's some lower areas, but not. So they're just going to cut them out and not have those voters. Are they cutting people out or trying to cut people in? That's what I'm trying to.
Yes.
Both?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fair deal. You can't do it based on criteria of what somebody's skin color is, because you know that by and large that demographic is going to vote Democrat. So the Democrats set up their districts in order to get representation out of those districts based on the way their voting habits were going to be. And they felt that people of color were by and large, black people by and large, were going to vote Democrat. So they gerrymandered their districts, so that those people, the bulk of their votes, would go to Democrats. You can't do it that way. You can't do it that way. So because what happens is you end up creating districts out of overpopulated areas or places with different population balances, and those are going to overpower the places that have, not as many people or whatever. That's why we have districting. That's why we have the Electoral College. It keeps everything fair, because the people living in Rhode Island don't have the same power as the people living in California. So the Electoral College exists. And listen, if we were to do it fairly, you would erase all voter rolls and start over. I've said this for years. Do it through your state's, your Secretary of States in all the different places, and legally purge the voter rolls and let everybody re-register to vote.
But they'll say that's racist, Chad.
They're going to say everything is racist. They say the gerrymandering, they say the redistricting is racist. They say that showing ID is racist. Everything is racist. White bread is racist. Rain is racist. Farms are racist. Cotton is racist. Everything is racist. You're racist. I'm racist. We're all racist. Everything's racist. The lights on in this room are racist because they've literally said stuff like that. So, okay, if it's already going to be racist, well, let's at least make it fair. I mean, you're already going to carry the label. You're already going to carry the categorization. So let's take care of business. I mean, the Democrats have been doing this forever. They set up these districts that are going to favor themselves, and,
Well, so does it go back and forth each time that depending on who's in control? Do they because I always hear about, they're redrawing the district lines every few years.
Well, it should be something that you're always looking at, because, again, populations migrate and they change and all that. You should always be looking at it. And there should be some redistricting that happens based on certain criteria. The skin color ain't one of them, though. So, you just can't do it that way. But they do all of this stuff. See, that's where the real election rigging happens. That's where the election rigging happens. You look at these districts, and I know they're odd shaped and stuff like that. But man, there's no basis for a lot of them. So anyway, that's where we're at.
I don't know enough. I really don't know enough about how they do.
You don't have to say that out loud.
Yeah, I don't mind saying it.
I do.
Okay.
We're experts around here, Steve. Tell them you're an expert.
Dude, out here, they ask me, hey, do you know how to do this? And I just say, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. So I see people in the chat talking about this is why the census matters. No, the census is corrupt too. Like it's not the government's business to know how many bathrooms I have in my house. You can find that out anyway. It's public record. But again, I don't have to tell the government everything.
And how many people lie on the census anyway? How many people you got living in your house? 3, and there's 15.
Well, the Hispanics don't tell the census that they got. Well, one, they don't fill it out. I don't fill it out. I don't take the census. You got to fill out the census. No, I don't. Come get me, copper. Yeah. I've never filled out a census form.
I filled out one like maybe 20 years ago. That's the last time I filled one out.
Yeah.
They must have a guy that just walks around and guess how many people live in that house.
Well, it's easier to track people now than it used to be.
Somebody in the chat, let us know how they do the census these days. Do they walk around and just...
We really don't.
Oh, they got 2 cars in the driveway. They must have 3 people there.
Yeah. We don't really care that much. Y'all don't have to put any energy into all that stuff.
Okay, don't do anything in the chat, y'all.
Don't not about the census. There's no need to. We know how the census works. But I don't tell the government anything. Ever. And people can lie. I mean, again, Hispanics aren't going to tell you they got 12 cousins living in the living room, sleeping in the living room. They're going to tell you all that. Anyway, we're off the track. All right, but see, here's the problem. Here's where the bottom line is everybody's a victim. Let's just put it that way. Jasmine Crockett She gonna cry because she's black. Play clip.
I'm a black woman in America. So, I mean, some people are just like, oh, but you're a congresswoman. I'm a black woman first. And so, the level of disrespect that is continuously lobbed against us as black women, for me, I'm like, wait a minute now. I am one of the 535 most powerful people in this country. And for some reason, you think we on the same level, but you're going to disrespect me? Like, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yes, it is. It's going to happen. You know why? Because you're going to open your mouth and you're going to sound like an absolute idiot. Like, she wants everybody to leave her alone, but then she comes out there and says stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, and she ain't going nowhere. She is going to be the face of
what?
Of something.
What, she
Black
gonna be the
American
face?
women.
I don't think so. But I mean, this is she's going to talk about disrespecting people. She called the governor of Texas Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
I mean, she's nobody to talk about disrespect. And see, but that right there revealed something. She thinks she has a place that deserves more honor because she was a member of Congress. No. You're supposed to respect me because what, you got a title now? Honey, when you go to Congress, you are a servant of the people. You are delegated authority. These people get up there and think they're supposed to run things. They're supposed to be little dictators.
And she said it herself. Powerful. One of the most, top 500 and something powerful. That's what she's there for, is to be powerful.
That's the whole deal, is they think that they're supposed to be something special. I'm one of the, what was it? She said, I am one of the 535 most powerful people in the country. If you think that you're one of the most powerful people in the country because you got elected to a place in Washington, D.C., then I tell you what you ought to do. You ought to go out there and earn a little respect. Go out there and reciprocate a little bit. Show the people some respect. But all I've heard her do and seen her do is TikTok videos and come out with her accent du jour and try to pander to people. You're there with the consent of those that sent you there to govern them. You don't have any authority. The people have the authority. And that in and of itself is why I don't do the census and don't really care about the IRS and don't really like all of these folks out there that are going to dictate over me. And people say, well, you got to do those things because then they'll know how many. Trust me, they know. And it doesn't matter what information you give them. Little dictators like Yasmin Crockett are going to rule over you because they think that that is their divine right to do so. So I can play the government's games and participate in the government's little fill out this piece of paper. But when you have people like that who say, I'm one of 535 most powerful people in this country, oh, this is when I want to go back to cussing a lot. Yeah. So you notice how quickly she goes from lawyer voice to ghetto voice.
Yeah, she
depending on the audience
quickly.
And the topic and who she's talking to. She was right on the borderline of it right here, like, I'm going to show you mines. I'm going to show you mines. Like she was right there on the cusp of getting there. But she managed to hold it back. Total absence of self-introspection and self-reflection on her part. She doesn't give a rip. She wouldn't pee in your ear if your brain was on fire, dude. She doesn't care about the people she supposedly serves. And Pete Hegseth bringing it out. I love it when we put these clips out there and Pete Hegseth just smokes them. And they're like, well, he's drunk. He's drunk. Can you listen to what the man says and just argue on the merits of his words? Play the clip.
Under this administration, unlike other administrations, which cut bad deals and pallets of cash with no ability to oversee whether Iran is actually pursuing a nuclear program.
Which is where
if we want to litigate JCPOA or the Iran deal, our view, the president's view, is that was a very bad deal that gave them a bunch of money up front.
What's the future?
To fund, you talked about negotiated deals. Allowed them to fund their proxies and spread Hamas and Hezbollah all around the region, build up nuclear capabilities.
That's great. What are we going to do now?
President Trump has been clear-eyed, from the killing of Qasem Soleimani to the pulling out of the Iran deal to Midnight Hammer and now to this effort to recognize that you have to stare down this kind of enemy who's hell-bent on getting a nuclear weapon and get them to a point where they're at the table giving it up.
Yeah. Why hasn't somebody in the Obama administration been arrested at this point? Oh, well, I mean, James Comey has turned himself in.
Yeah, that's going to go nowhere, though.
Why?
I don't think it's going to.
Have you gotten into the reflex of just saying nothing's going to happen?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think we have. I think we all have.
Well, everybody has, but I'm asking why. I mean, it's got to start somewhere.
Okay, it does, but what do they? He shared that on social media and then played stupid. He ain't gonna all of a sudden change his tune.
Yeah, we'll see how it comes out. But man, it sure is fun to watch him get a little bit of comeuppance, right?
Yeah. How many times do you do that though? And you just keep doing it until you finally get him?
I don't know what you're asking. But I mean, you mean how many times do we just keep parading people out there and then there's no ramifications for what they've done? There's no accountability being held?
Yeah.
I mean, again, people keep saying, well, nothing's going to happen. Well, let's keep throwing it up against the wall. Let's keep going after people. I mean, there's some accountability here. I want to see some mugshots, though. Like, I want to see a mugshot. They did that with Trump. They trotted him out there.
Slap some cuffs on him and do a perp walk. Let's see that.
I mean, let me see some stuff. So,
but there's going to be some other people that are going to have to be arrested too for the same thing.
What are you positive about today, Steve?
I don't know.
I mean, you weren't even positive
I just don't
about
have
Charlie Kirk.
I don't have a lot of faith in
Why
them
are you
following
here?
through and doing it.
Why are you here? Let's talk about stuff.
Let's do it.
I mean, I'm trying. You even talked down about him putting Charlie Kirk way up in California.
No, I didn't. I made jokes, and I had a joke, and I bit my tongue, and I did not say the joke, the untasteful joke that I had.
I'm glad you didn't. If it was on that topic, I'm probably glad you didn't.
Yeah.
But look at this, Steve. The DOJ has seized his book sales.
Okay. And what are we going to do? What are they going to? They're seizing them. That means they just stopped him from making any money off his book.
I'd say that's a pretty big deal if that's his income.
Yeah.
So he posted the threat, the 8645 or whatever it was, 5 days before his book release. So again, his 8647 was what it was there on the beach, was surrounded by book promo posts.
California's rubbing off on me. That's what somebody said in the chat. No, it's not. I just try to look at it from, I don't want to have, I'm just not going to sit here and agree with everything that's being done or not being done.
They came after Trump so hard over all this stuff. Again, I go back to what I said at the very beginning about Russiagate. And there was nothing there. All right? I mean, the left could say the same thing. We keep going after Trump, and we're never getting him. We're not getting him. We're not getting him. They at least got a mugshot of Trump. And they finally, their whole indictment thing, the thing that he's a felon, most people can't even tell you why they say he's a felon.
Yeah.
Because he signed a piece of paper for using funds to make a legal payment.
And every one of those were the same thing, just on a different transaction.
Right. So there's got to be consequences. Well, if the consequences are they're forfeiting the book sales, I'd say that's a pretty good start. I mean, let's do some stuff.
I'd like to know what his book sales were.
I mean, they were good. And let me tell you why they're good. Because these packs buy them in bulk. They'll buy tens of thousands of books to drive it up the bestseller list. And then I don't know what they do with those books, give them away, burn them, whatever. But these political action committees, they buy these books to the tune of millions of dollars.
Yeah, actually, I saw somebody had just done that.
Nobody's buying AOC's book.
Is it Gavin Newsom or somebody that did that? His campaign funds were being used to buy books.
That's what they do. So these guys make millions of dollars. You know, Bernie Sanders, when they ask him about having 3 homes, Bernie Sanders is like, well, you should write a book. Write a book. Well, it's easy when you got PACs that are paying you $10 million by buying your book. I got a book called Born for Meaning. What I would love for some group to do is buy, like, for instance, I'm going to speak at an event in August in Iowa for Gun Owners of America. And they said, we want to buy 250 of your books to put on sale at the event. And I said, knock yourself out. Part of my negotiated payment for going there to speak is they're buying 250 books.
I mean, not a bad deal.
I
Didn't
mean,
you
it's
just
not bad.
double the price real quick?
I know. We're going to drive that sucker up over there on Amazon. Again, is that going to make me a lot of money? No, you don't make a lot of money off of books. But if some people are buying tens of thousands of them, drives you up on the bestseller.
Yeah, that's a great way to launder money, too. It's kind of like artwork.
Yeah. The easiest way is artwork, Hunter Biden. So there's all those things that are out there. And I like it. I mean, hold his books. Hold his book sales. Alina Habba says a lot more arrests are coming over the Russiagate deal. So again, Russia, the Russiagate thing literally destroyed our country. And Alina, if you've ever been around her any length of time, she gets pretty savage with it. This is that New Jersey accent coming out right here. Play the clip.
Why should anyone believe this pattern of targeting Trump's enemies is about justice and not revenge?
If you think that the Russian collusion hoax, if you think that the things that we've now seen evidence.
Girl, stop with those cheeks. Stop with those cheeks.
I have to look. I have to put the glasses
Women,
on.
ladies, I'm telling you, you can look old or you can look weird. Stop. Her cheeks are puffed out so much. I can't even. You're going to have to rewind this and let me play this clip again. Back it up just a little bit, David. Let me hear Alina's response here. Okay, play it.
Why should anyone believe this pattern of targeting Trump's enemies is about justice and not revenge?
If you think that the Russian collusion hoax, if you think that the things that we've now seen evidence of in this Department of Justice aren't real, I just tell you to sit tight because things are coming. Because what they did was weaponized. I don't want to hear about weaponization because the reason you all know who I am is because of weaponization. I sat through targeting, people saying we're going to get Trump. And then a Hillary Clinton appointed judge sanctioned me for suing Hillary Clinton. By the way, I'm proud of that. Well, I'm proud of what I did.
Actually,
because it was the right thing to do.
Let me get Alyssa in here. Let me get Alyssa.
Yeah, they're getting a little taste of that medicine.
Yeah. So are they gonna cuff up the Clintons? They're gonna cuff up Obama?
No.
Yeah.
No, they'll get presidential immunity. But they should, in a fair and just world. But no, I mean, they about to find out. I think there's some things coming, dude. I hope there is. The reason I'm giving you a hard time on that is I truly believe that there's some things coming. I'm holding out. I'm optimistic about this. Now that Pam Bondi's out of the way, I think we're going to see something come along. I don't know why.
Was she just not willing to put it out there because
play the political game? She's playing the political game, and I don't know what it is about these people. Pam Bondi did not make real good decisions. And
that was I saying. Now Pam Bondi's going to go away. Yeah. She's just the type that's just,
they can't even
reappointed to whatever. But
these women on The View, I can't believe they had Alina on there. Alina's sharp, dude. I mean, you're talking about a sharp attorney right there. And they got to read their questions right off the note card just to even ask her what they want to ask her. And she's like, I don't know why anybody goes on The View, but they didn't have a response for her. So, trash pandas. All right, let's jump over to some pinheads right here. This is what I was referring to earlier. This lady comes up. They're going to dox Nick Fuentes, which I got plenty of opinions about Nick and whatever. Nobody cares. But watch what. She's taking pictures of his address. Watch this.
Hi. Oh, my God. What are you doing?
What? I love it. I have no problem with that.
I've watched it 1,000 times this morning.
What are you doing?
What do they call that when somebody comes up on your porch? What is that area of your house called?
Oh my God!
It's your castle law.
Yeah, I think it's covered.
Which where Nick is now, I don't think they necessarily have much of a castle law, but
he needs some power washing done on them sides.
I know, right? Need a little.
That's what I see. I'm like, man, I got a power washer that clean that right up for you, buddy.
It doesn't even bother to pick up that 13-day-old newspaper sitting there, that advertising. That's No, he should not have been charged. David just asked me, should have been charged. No, he shouldn't be charged. No, and I don't like Nick, but I don't whether I like you or not. I watched it 15 times because that woman shouldn't be up there trying to dox him. You know, he gets doxed. I mean, he's already had a few things that have happened at his home where people have come to his home. He had some violent threats that were there. Some people showed up to do violence, so he's already dealt with that. He comes out. I don't know if his pepper spray misfired or what, but you come up to my house and you're taking pictures of the front of my house and you ain't holding DoorDash. I don't have a problem with that. But then again, I don't really have a problem with a lot of things. Like, I'm so sick of this world we live in where it's like, well, don't touch somebody because you're going to get assault charge. There's some things that folks need to be jacked around a little.
I was going to say, some people need assaulted.
I mean, it's a strong word. Just some people need to be slapped in the face, you know. But see, these days, people are like, well, I was assaulted. No, somebody just brushed against you. Nick just used gravity.
Okay, it's 8-Ball just let me know. It's called I'm going to say this right, curtilage, like your porch, right? Your immediate right outside your door area. Yeah, I think you're safe to push somebody off that.
If you scroll down in the comments, there is a reverse angle where the woman is from her perspective of Nick coming out.
Is this going to change your point of view?
No, it's just a funnier version. So anyway,
she got sat on her ass.
Like, here's the deal: if I say something about your wife, like, I deserve to get punched in the face by you.
Dude, she's gonna do it. If you say something about my wife, she'll do it herself.
I get it, but if somebody comes after your wife or something like that, you deserve to be able to smack them. Somebody comes to your house. I mean, you got 37 cameras on your house. Somebody comes to your house. Like, I scared the mess out of somebody at one of my properties the other day because they came up peeking in the windows at midnight, and I saw them on the Ring camera.
Yeah, that's it. Can I help you?
I know, and I went on the Ring camera. I was like, "What you looking for, buddy?" And that dude, he ran off and left the woman. I didn't really even realize there was a woman with him. I just saw this bald-headed dude looking in the windows, and he ran off and left. And all of a sudden, she comes off. And she's like, "What?" He took off and left her.
He's probably looking for a place to do the higgity-biggity or whatever you call it.
Hibbity-dibbity.
Hibbity-jibbity.
Have you ever gone and gotten a sandwich and want it cut in eighths? Are you that bougie?
No, I'm not at all.
Take a look at this. Here's this guy. This is entitlement right here. Watch, play the clip.
Can you cut this in eighths? I usually have my egg sandwiches cut in eighths so I don't have to do the work. And if you don't mind, can you remove the crumbs? I like being pampered, and this guy complied. I have a feeling I might be back. Can you cut this in...
No way that's real. Surely that's a spoof.
I don't know. It's my wife wants her sandwiches cut in a triangle.
That's different.
2 triangles.
You do it.
I do it, but that's too much work for me. I ain't doing eighths.
Yeah, you've already said you live in duress. So watch this. This dude's on the top of this palm tree. Steve, you're in California. Why don't you go do this?
I'm not climbing palm trees.
See you, buddy.
Ay, Dios santo.
He's having fun.
Wow.
No, they didn't break off.
Wow.
That's like you got to pay to do rides like that. That guy's getting paid to do the ride.
I'd want to be duct taped and strapped in and Velcroed and everything. Boy, wrap me up.
I'm sure he's tired.
What if it had snapped right there, though, like 2/3 of the way up?
It could have.
Yeah.
But those trees are very resilient. They have to be for the wind and stuff like that. The fiber is very tight fibered trees.
Somebody in the comments said that hanging behind him is not his tool bag. That's his enormous nutsack.
Dang, where's that comment? They
It's
don't
down.
talk like that on Rumble.
It's down below the actual post. I'm looking at the actual post on X. Europe.
Everybody assumes he's Mexican. That's funny.
Well, white people ain't climbing up there. I don't know, man. Seagull screeching. Pull that one up. I don't know what that one is. What do you got there, David? David, where are you at? There we go. What is this? 6th European Seagull Screeching Championship. Oh, okay. So these people it's like turkey calling, right? Or pig calling. But they're doing seagulls. Let's see what your best one is here in a minute, Steve. Let's listen to this one.
I found it hilarious that it was one competition in a thing that I was doing, but was very weird. I didn't know about it, so I just thought, and I turned 40 that year, and I think that kind of ticked in, that I was like, okay, I'm not going to be boring or do only grown-up things now. I will do this competition.
All right.
That's about all I could get. I can't get that high.
I could sit here all day and watch you try, though. Oh my gosh, we used to have a show. Check out this sign right here. Look at this for preventing child abuse. Look at this. Play this clip. Prevent child abuse awareness.
It should be child abuse
awareness.
prevention.
Prevent child abuse awareness. Let's not be aware of the child abuse going on. Let's prevent that.
Somebody went to the Leering Center. I can tell you that. So, all right, Steve, go get in a better mood, dadgummit. Go teach them how to be happy in California.
I'm actually in a great mood. I feel good. I've been up for 2 hours now, and now it's time to go put in a little work.
Yeah.
It's early over here.
It is early, dude.
It's like
you were
just
up
now
early.
6 o'clock.
How long are you going to be out there, you know?
A couple of weeks, I think.
All right.
We'll see.
Indoctrinated. This is day one. Imagine how you're going to be in 14 days.
Oh, I'll be fine. I work fast. Hopefully I can knock this out and be home sooner.
All right, buddy. Well, be safe out there. I love you.
Love you too.
I love messing with you. Y'all follow him at Party Foul Steve. Pray for Steve out in California. Pray for Tony. Pray she gets some rest away from him. They actually do miss each other. So God bless you, buddy. And y'all follow David Medina. He is unseen, unheard, but he is the producer of this show, makes the magic happen, at David Medina PDX. Follow him on social media. And don't forget, follow me at Watch Chad. Hit like, hit subscribe, do all the stuff you want to do. Thanks for spending a few extra minutes with us for the Chad Prather Show and hanging out. Did we accomplish anything? Don't know, don't care. Had fun doing it. And it's all about you guys. I love y'all so much, man. It's fun to have these conversations. But, when the next big crazy conspiracy comes out, the next Russiagate or the pandemic or all these kind of things, don't be so quick to push the conspiracy theorists aside and say that we're idiots. Sometimes we actually, have studied enough history to understand human nature to see the way the politicization of the crazy warfare they use to warp our minds. Sometimes we're right. Sometimes we're right, and it's starting to prove true. Now, pray with me that justice comes. We need some justice in this country. I want there to be some actual results, don't you? So let's pray that it happens, okay? God's still on the throne. He has the ability to expose a lot of things, and I pray it's coming. I pray that it is coming. I'm praying for you. You pray for me. I love you guys. Go over there, do a little shopping. Shopbeforethenoise.com. I think you can still go to prathertees.com, and it redirects as well. Get you some of those magnetic bookmarks. They were getting stuck in the bins of the places. I told Cindy, I said, you got to wrap these things up better because they were sticking through the envelopes in the metallic bins as they were going through, and people weren't getting their packages there at the mailing centers. All right, I'm out of here. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning, bright and early before the noise. We're back in Mark chapter 1, rocking and rolling. I love you guys. God bless you, and I'll talk to you then.